Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, February 7th, 2020, and this is our weekly video, a look back at last week's eBay auction results, Katawiki results, what's going on with the global member pages, and some changes that are happening here, and we'll get into them right away. Alrighty, now let's see here. First thing is, some of you noticed we came up with this dandy new logo for the global member pages to make it a little more instantly recognizable. It's sort of self-explanatory, and it's from our little art department here. And then you have the member page has been updated this week with the heads up for the Sotheby's and spring sales are coming up in March. There's a whole series of them happening in March. It's going to be a bit of a test of the market, as they all have been lately, but now that the embargoes are being dropped and the tariffs are being dropped and all that, that's good news. The sad news is, of course, the coronavirus thing, which is going on, and we don't know how that's going to impact anything in our world, but let's just hope they get that squared away quickly so more people don't suffer from that disease. God. All right, now let's see here. Over here, Live Auctioneers, we added a bunch of things this week in addition to the Rob Michael sale that's coming up on February 15th and 16th. Zach's has a sale up, and there are several other companies running auctions in the Netherlands. There's a lot of good auction houses in the Netherlands. It's a small region, but boy, they have some good auctions up there. And I wanted to mention Invaluable has been updated. There's a lot of Japanese material on Invaluable right now. As you can see, there's all the pages are just absolutely loaded on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So check those out. And one thing I wanted to mention was over at Christie's, while they don't have any major sales running right now, I came across this auction, which is pretty nifty. It's an online sale. It is not a specialized Chinese online sale. It's part of a much larger auction of an estate of someone. So there's furniture and all this other material, European furniture and paintings and decorative art, carpets, but she also had quite a few nice Chinese pieces. Not all the Chinese stuff that goes into these auction houses ends up in a major sale. They often include it with an estate. They prefer to do it that way. And there's some very nice Kangxi pieces in here. This lovely Kangxi charger with the gilded flowers on it. And then there's another one in Famille Vert to accompany it, which is, I think that's kind of cool. You can see why she bought them. And there's several good figurines, pairs of Femi June vases, Kangxi triple gourd vases. It's a very nice pair of them there. And on and on, you want to check it out. Also some nice Japanese silver rather, highly refined silver, circa 1900 late Meiji period, and on with that. So check those out. Now let's see here. Over here is something I got a note. This is on Katawiki. I got an email from Christine Ortega this morning, and she said that this sale ends tomorrow, and she just wanted me to point it out. We had some of the items already on our list for today to be added to the newsletter page, but she just wanted us to remind everyone this closes tomorrow, and there's some good things in here. This is really nice Kangxi double-handled food pot. This very nice creamer, Femi Rose. They have it down as Chien Lung. It could also be Yongchen period. Good candy, some nice porcelains, a good brush pot, and on and on and on. So those will be added over to the newsletter page. One of the things I wanted to mention was that we are moving the website on Monday and Tuesday this week. So if you come over to use it and you have some trouble accessing it and you wonder what's going on, it's because we're moving it. The site has doubled in its size in the last month due to the new pages we've added on the members side. So we have to get out of where we are, and the place we're going specializes in large sites. And this site has so much content, we have no other choice, so that's what they're doing. And we'll be glad to have that out of the way. All right, now, so just a heads up on that. Anyway, this was something that was sold over at Katawiki last week. It was a very nice double Buddha shrine or home altar with inscripted inner panel over here. Beautifully done. The gilding looked very good on all of these. And look at this. It went for $565. And it's always important to check the measurements. Check out the size of this thing. 42 centimeters. That was a big one. That was a nice, big, tall one for one of these folding examples with the doors and all that. So that was a fabulous buy for somebody. And the other thing that was very nice was with these Subas. This was the end of the rest of the Suba sale. There were still a few more on there. This was one I liked because it had a snail on it and little plants and whatnot, and inlaid with silver and copper. And there's a little mountain ridge up here, and I liked this. And it went for $155, which is a beautiful, beautiful little Suba. And there were others too. I didn't see any with horses. I wish there had been. I might have bought it. All right, now over here, another piece that was up on Katawiki was this very nice Kangxi plate. And I liked this plate because it was sort of unusual in that it was somewhat reminiscent of some Japanese plates from around the same era, the way they have the scroll running across it, revealing this sort of landscape scene with plum blossoms and bamboo trees. Nice looking dish. Went for $168 for a Kangxi dish. That was a good buy. That was a nice piece. Not typical. Not a typical example. And then over here was that very, very nice silver enamel double-handled dragon cup and stand. I like this a lot. As I said last week, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit, which can be done with silver foam. Won't hurt it in the least. It'll look spectacular. And a lot of people like this. Got a lot of interest. And at the end, it ended up going for $2,550. Had 63 bids, but a good example. Really nice. And then the robe. This was one of these. It's an informal robe, but the quality of it was excellent. With the cranes within rondelles. Here's a little better shot of it. Very good detail all the way around. Late Qing, early Republic example. Nice tight weave. Good example all the way around. The sleeves look nice. The silk was in very good condition. It's all about condition with silks, and the condition of this looked to be pretty close to pristine. And though it wasn't in a big formal court robe, it did bring $3,300, which is a pretty good price for that. But if a collector wants pristine examples, this was one to go after. Had a nice red liner in it too, which I thought was quite handsome, ruby red. All right, and then over to the strip panel silk. This is the other silk that I liked from last week, of dragons running across the waves, chasing the famous flaming pearl here among the clouds. Just a nice one. This was a big piece. It was about 66 inches wide. So you could really hang it. You could take it to your framer and have it put in a nice shadow box. And the glass, if you use UV glass, that'll help it to prevent fading. And this is a nice thing. $698. Make a wall out of that, boy. That would be handsome. And then over here to the little mystery cup. And the Chinese made most of these in the latter part, middle and latter part of the 19th century. They did some earlier. But this is a sort of probably 1850 to 80 example, and inside of it is a little brush washer with a creature coming out of it. And here you have the man with his horsetail wisp holding up a cup to a lady, and she's sort of smiling. And there's a scholar over here. Nice example, and it brought $628. Without the added interior to that, this was about a $200 cup. But that extra bit on the inside really adds to the value of it. Here's a better view of it to know what to look for. This, all right, and it's fitted in. There's a man coming up out of the middle. It's very nice, and it went for $628. And then over to this, the very pretty jar, late 18th century. But very fine quality with the pomegranates on it, and then this nice rue head and floral border, and then these sort of dog tooth rims and all that nice decoration on it. But what was nice about this was the foot rim looks so good on it right here. This very neat, tight foot rim. Notice how the glaze with the edge came down and folded over, and then the foot rim is within that, protruding out. It's rather difficult to do technically. If you've done pottery, you know what I'm talking about. And it went for $1,913. And this was a small jar. This was not a big jar. It's hard to tell from the picture. This jar was only around 5 inches tall. Okay, we've had these before here and sold them, and there's always interest in them. There's always demand for them because they were made in the 18th century. And then over to this, the nice barb-rimmed Celadon Longquang Ming dish. This was a good one. The color was quite nice on it. Nice color green. It did have some wear to the middle, which I've pointed out before in these videos is fairly common because these bowls were used a lot. They were used daily, and the glaze tended to wear away from the center from just regular use and being scrubbed and cleaned and put back and so forth, and not unusual. If you find one with no wear in the middle at all, make sure it's a real one. It's not one of the modern copies, because they are copying these. And they're even able to copy this firing ring with the iron oxide staining on it. So you have to learn to look at them very carefully. When you look at these, you want to look for legitimate iron oxide lines around the inside, and make sure it hasn't been some sort of rust element added to it, because they are doing that now. They have been for a while, actually. But here's the back of it, and notice it's got that nice glazed foot rim, so it would sit on a table and not scratch it. And it went for $1,725. Without if it didn't have any wear in the middle, it would have brought probably another $1,000 or $2,000. The wear has a little impact on price, but still a nice example. And then the Kong. This Kong was marked China. It was probably made around 1900 to 1920 roughly. It's done with that turquoise ground that was so popular during the era of the Empress Dowager in the last part of the Qing dynasty, sort of in her taste and flavor, as they say. The bottom of it was marked China, which was not uncommon, because anything exported from China after 1890 or 1895 was supposed to have a country of origin mark on it by international law. They didn't always do that. They sometimes, lots of things left after that didn't get marked. But this was a nice example, and I'll show you what the bottom looks like with the mark on it right here. And this had been a lamp at one point. It had been drilled out right here. You can tell. But at any rate, there's the China mark on it. And it sold for $415. Had it not been drilled and didn't have the China mark, it probably would have brought another $300. But a nice example. Still pretty. All right. And then over here to this Bengkongware Thai brush washer. Rather nice one, late 19th century or so, but good condition, good colors, and went for $387. The form is a little bit unusual, which made it nice. And then over here to the Copeland collection. Those of you who are not familiar with the Copeland collection, it's a collection of figural Chinese and Japanese porcelains at the Peabody Essex Museum. This book was written by a friend of mine named Bill Sargent. He was the curator there for over 20 years. Brilliant guy. Writes very good books. He has another book out he's written as well. And this was collected by one of the DuPont heirs, Mrs. Lamont DuPont Copeland. Mrs. Lamont DuPont Copeland, I think was her full name. But at any rate, this is the book. It's one of the best books out there is for Chinese figurines and porcelains. And these are all in the museum, and all of these are very rare examples, really great examples. The colors are much better than are shown here. All right, the colors in the book are actually excellent, great color separation. And there's an inscription about Bill writing this book a number of years ago. It went for $62, which I think is a great buy. This thing is profusely illustrated and full of good information. And I think that was a fabulous buy. And then moving on to this, a very nice little Kangxi period melon form teapot. A good looking one. A well-known type. A lot of these turn up in Europe, England, France, the Netherlands especially, lots of them around. But it's a good example. And they used to bring more money, actually. I think they've come down a little because so many of them are now coming out of estates over there. It's a good time to buy them. Went for $213. All right, it was a nice example and a very reasonable price. All righty, now let's mosey over to here. Is this pair of vases. This particular vase, you've all seen them before. They're Chinese Celadon ground Mandarin export vases made around 1830 or 40, somewhere in there. And this form, this particular shape, from a photo, it's hard to tell how big these are. These vases were made in every size from 5 or 6 inches tall up to 35 inches, 36 inches tall even. They all have the same proportions, and without something to measure it by, you can't really tell. But these particular vases were around 9 inches, 8 or 9 inches, and they sold for $297. All right. Had they been the great big ones, they would have brought $5,000 or $10,000. All right, now over here to this slab constructed inscribed famille rose vase. You've seen these before. They did the same sort of pattern on Chinese bowls and plates and all kinds of things. Here's a bunch of views of it. What was nice about this was the quality of the decoration was quite good. As you can see here, even the very fine work that they did to highlight the silk that would have been on these figures and so forth, and the nice gilding of the scepter and everything. And in the end, it did quite well. It brought $3,661. Nice looking thing. And then over here to the little ruby back dish. Most ruby back dishes that are around, they say, well, they're 18th century. I think this one was later, but a really nice example nonetheless. And it ended up selling for $1,046. I think this was an early 19th century one. Just in my personal opinion, maybe Ching period, but a beautiful example. And on to these. These were a bargain. There was a pair of these 18th century Qianlong period bowls. One of them had a hairline. They had the standard little fritting around the rims. They might have been older. They might have been, early Qianlong, but very well done. Nice looking plates. Here's the back of them. They almost look Kangxi to me, don't they? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, they could be Kangxi. Yeah. Okay, Kangxi plates, better yet. Any rate, they went for $33. That was a steal. Leave a bid. I've said it a million times. Leave a bid, and the shipping was 48 pounds from the UK to here, which is in the United States. So the shipping was reasonable, but a very good buy. They should have brought 130 to 150 bucks a piece. All right. Good on someone. Someone got a steal. And then over here to the blue and white gilded plate. I showed this because this is a type of plate that it's not especially rare unto itself, but this particular pattern, with the overglazed gilding and the cobalt decoration combination, these were made in sets of big dinner services, huge dinner services, with tureens and platters. And I saw one once in a house. It was absolutely elegant. In a cabinet, because the light hits the gilding and just pulls it out to you to see it. And this was just a plate from one of those services, but a nice one. And it went pretty reasonably, $130, not bad at all. And it was about 8 inches in diameter, roughly. And then mosey over to this was a really nice, probably Showa period, Kotani style plate, and this was interesting because it was done by a well-known potter and came with its original box, and it was good size. It was about a foot in diameter, and it was done by Seiichi Matsumoto, and he was quite well known. His workshop was quite well known, and somebody got a great buy, $299 for that with the box. Okay, this is a nice signed piece of art. Beautiful looking colors, very classical early Kotani style with the deep green, these deep green leaves, and a very almost rustic looking, and then this brown dress shaped outer rim, but very classical. I think that was a nice buy for someone. There's some very good potters in Japan right through the Showa period. Okay, and now on to this, the Kangxi Bowl. That looks like a Ming bowl. It's done very much in the Ming style, but it's actually Kangxi. But beautiful example. It was about 6 inches in diameter. It had the little fungi on the base. This is a picture off the base of the piece, in case you're wondering what that is. And it went for $178, which was quite reasonable. And these pieces that we're seeing from Katawiki now, we mentioned a week ago, we were going to try and focus a bit more on unreserved things if we can find them, just because it's such a pain in the neck to fight reserves. And I don't like dealers that put big reserves on things. And I ran an auction house, and reserves are not your friend. Okay, they're just delaying the inevitable most of the time. All righty, don't put a reserve on it, just sell it. All right, and then over here to Pierre Audry's book. I talked about this last week when we said it was going to be in the newsletter page because it's such a good book. This is a very nice, heavily illustrated group of examples from a famous collection over in Europe, and the illustrations in the book are excellent. There's lots of information in here, technical information, what to look for, how to date cloisonné and all that. I bought it when it was new, and I've used it a million times. It's very handy. It went for $67. That's peanuts for a great reference book. So if you have another chance to buy one of these, you want to put this in your library. You also want to put things like the Copeland collection that Bill wrote in your library. They are handy, and it's good to have when you need it the most. All right, now let's take a look at what's coming up. All right, this is coming up. This is also on Katawiki, is a really nice home portable shrine, and it's a fairly standard, type of box. The box is completely lined in with script. But what I liked about this the most was the figure. There he is. This is a wonderful Buddha figure, beautifully carved with some gilding over it. The face is nicely done, and it's got this beautiful double base with the inscribed brass mount on it, and then this wavy rocks over the bottom. It's sort of rustic looking. There's another view of it. This was a nice box. And this closes on, when, tomorrow? Or let's see here. Hold on. Closes in 2 days and 50 minutes. So it closes Sunday. So if you're looking for stuff on Katawiki, it'll be in the newsletter page with the Japanese stuff. You want to check that out. It's a nice shrine and in good condition. And then also is this Kangxi period. These are the style of painting on these is sort of a penciled effect where they outline it and they don't color it in. All right, and you'll notice they did brush pots and bowls. They did all kinds of things in this pattern, but they didn't do them a lot, not as much as you think. But this one is nice. I like this, and I love the way you can really see the drawing. It has a very painterly sort of sketched look to it. And it's up to, what's it up to? It closes in a day. It's up to just $82. Which is very reasonable, and probably bring 150 or something in that range. But if you like Kangxi dishes with this type of drawing, you want to check it out. And then over on eBay, this closes pretty soon. And this is that double pair of Dewa Blanc de Chien relief worked jars with Fu Lion lids. These sold about a month ago. They brought $1,500. The guy that bid on them and won them didn't pay for them, which I don't understand because it was a very reasonable purchase. Very reasonable, and they close on Sunday. They're up to $1,000, and if you can get them, if these go for under $2,000, $2,500, you got a heck of a good buy. Those are nice. Pairs of Blanc de Chien pieces like this are hard to come by. All right, you won't see them very often. And then over here to the little Kwanjanware double, covered hot food dish. This is a good example. It's got some very nice coloring on it. It's got some script running around the outside, which you want to see. Here's the top and the bottom. And the interior, of course, is all divided, and they added a little tan or brown dressing up over it and so forth. Nice little piece. And it's up to $444. It closes Sunday. It'll go more than that. I suspect $600 to $900 somewhere in there. But a good example. It may even go for more. The buyers of these, the collectors of these, are like the Straits collectors. They get a little crazy at times. But this is a nice one, nice sweet meat dish. And then on to this. If you buy Korean stuff or you like Japanese stuff, because it often looks very Korean, you might want to check this out. It's a very nice, he has it as 19th century. I think it might be a bit older, judging by the foot and the color. He has it as a 19th century Korean vase. It's a beautiful pear-shaped example. The dragon is nicely done. The eyes are very expressive and so forth. Here's another view of it. There it is overlit. There it is, the face. The dragon is, very animated, almost cartoonish. I like that. And here's a detail of it. It's got a little stain or something in the glaze, or it's just dirt. Here's the foot rim. And there's the bottom of it. And that's what the bottom of these Korean pieces look like. Sort of splotchy with extra glaze dripping around, and a very rustic foot, and often, very often, if not always, with a bit of kiln grit on the feet from the firing. Okay, and this closes in 2 days on Sunday. It's up to only $12. Okay, that's a crazy low price. That's a crazy, crazy price. It should be 30 times that. So if you want to own a nice piece of Korean blue and white, that's a good example. And right now it's way under the money. All right, and then over here for this, the Wanli double gourd. This is a good example. It's about 12 inches tall. It's a nice size. They made them in different sizes, but 12 inches is a good size for these. But beautifully done, good cobalt coloring in it. Has all the little scenes and whatnot you might expect to see, landscape scenes, blossoming flowers and all that. Nicely done brown, a blue dressed mouth on it instead of using brown. And there's the foot rim on it. And if you're not familiar with transitional wares and late Ming pieces, this is what their foot rims look like, okay? Especially on the late Ming, late 1600s, or late 1500s, late 16th century. This is what they look like. It's sort of an oatmeal color, not snow white always. And you can, if you look at it carefully, like here, you can see little knife marks. And that's where it was been trimmed. And the bottoms of these typically are pretty thickly glazed, and they tend to be slightly convex. They poke down a little because there's a slight sag during the firing process. All right, and this one is also very reasonable still, $34. This ought to bring $800 to $1,200 pretty easily. So it's got 3 days to go. It closes Monday, and if you like late Ming Wanli pieces, boy, check that out. That right now seems like it could go through the cracks. And then on to the bronze. He has it listed as late Ming. I'm not sure that it is. I suspect it's more likely early Qing. But a beautiful bronze Fuline incense burner. It originally would have been part of a pair. There would have been a male and a female. This is the male. But it's in nice condition, and it's big. It's about 13 inches tall, which is quite unusual for these. Most of these Fulines are 3 or 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches. This one is big. It's 13 inches tall. It's up to $1,293, and I suspect it'll probably go up another $1,000 or so. We'll see. It depends how much somebody wants it. If it had been a pair, it would even go up a lot more if it had been a full pair. But still, it's a very nice one. It has minor bits of wear. And then over on Live Auctioneers, over on the member side, is this beautiful pair of Kangxi chargers. These are 38 centimeters each. They have a very nice, fern scroll pattern on it. Sort of an unusual pattern. You see it more typically. You see it occasionally on plates, but you also see it on bowls and sometimes on teapots. Nice looking example. That's online right now. And then there's the nice Ming jar with the later wooden lid. But this is a very nice, typical late Ming style with this very narrow-waisted foot rim sweeping in, the beautifully swollen body. And the cobalt on this looks quite good, nice and dark, and it should do pretty well. We had one of these that we sold not long ago, and a friend of mine had another one from an entirely different estate that was very similar that we helped him with some pictures on for that. It was quite a thing. And this closes in 12 days. And this is one of the auction houses in the Netherlands I was mentioning, Veelinghuis de Jager. They're good. They have good things. It's a good auction house over there, and that's over on the member pages. And then another piece in that same sale is this rather nice Kangxi Amari bowl with gilding and iron red all over it, and this nifty little shaped rim running around the edge. I like that. And the fritting isn't too bad. There's a bit of fritting, but not as bad as they can be. I've seen some of these where there's not an inch of glaze left on the edge at all. It just frits off completely. So that's a pretty nice one. And that's about it for the week, all right? If you haven't subscribed to us here on YouTube, please do. And if you haven't signed up for the weekly newsletter over on Bidamount.com, come over and do that. It's free. We don't charge it. The member page we charge a whopping $4 a month for, but the newsletter page is free. And there's a lot of stuff on there every week, and we put the video on there and so on and so forth. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoy these videos, and we'll see you next week. And hopefully the move of the site won't be too disruptive to anyone. Okay, thanks a lot, and see you all next week. Bye-bye.